Shalom, my friends. I am Rabbi Yosef, and today we are going to dismantle a lie that has kept you trapped in a cycle of financial struggle and anxiety for far too long. You have been told that wealth is about saving, about cutting back, about a constant grinding hustle. But the most powerful Jewish wealth principle, a secret hidden in plain sight within our sacred texts, teaches the exact opposite. It is a principle most people, even those who study, tragically ignore. By the end of this video, you will not only understand this spiritual technology, but you will possess a practical, three-step protocol to apply it, to break free from the illusion of scarcity, and to open the floodgates of abundance that the Creator has always intended for you. This is not about positive thinking. This is about rewiring your spiritual reality. Before we proceed, I want you to make a declaration. This is not for me. It is for you. It is an act of programming your own consciousness for the transformation that is about to occur. Go to the comments right now and write, "I am the architect of my abundance." By writing these words, you are sending a signal to the universe and to your own soul that you are ready to receive. And while you are there, if you are not yet part of our global community, I ask you to subscribe. We are on a mission to reach 100,000 souls with this ancient wisdom. Your subscription is a vote for light in a world of darkness. Join us. And for those who are serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the full Torah wealth system. The doors are closing soon. The link is in the comments. Now let me take you back. Many years ago, I was not the man you see before you. I was a young scholar, newly married, with a burning passion for the Torah but pockets that were perpetually empty. I worked tirelessly. I taught. I wrote. I took on any odd job that would not compromise my values. I followed all the conventional advice. I created budgets on spreadsheets. I tracked every penny. I denied myself and my wife the smallest pleasures, believing that this discipline, this constant restriction, was the righteous path to financial stability. Yet, we were sinking. Every month was a white-knuckled battle against a tide of bills. An unexpected car repair felt like a catastrophe. The dream of owning a home felt like a cruel joke. I remember one particular evening staring at a pile of final notice letters on our small kitchen table. The weight of failure was crushing. I was a man of God, a student of the sacred laws, yet I could not provide for my own family. The shame was a physical poison in my veins. I felt like a hypocrite, teaching about a benevolent Creator while living under a cloud of constant lack. My prayers felt hollow, as if they were hitting a brass ceiling. I was doing everything the world told me to do, but the world system was failing me, and in my heart I felt my faith beginning to fray. In my desperation, I doubled down on the world's wisdom. I read all the best-selling finance books. They all sang the same song from a slightly different sheet of music. The first false solution was what I call the gospel of hustle. It's the belief that sheer effort is the primary variable in the wealth equation. So I worked more. I slept less. I sacrificed time with my family, time with my studies, time with my Creator, all at the altar of the grind. My income increased marginally, but my exhaustion grew exponentially. My spiritual life withered. I was a machine, not a man, and the machine was breaking down. The second false prophet was the cult of frugality. This philosophy preaches that the path to wealth is paved with pennies saved. It turns life into an exercise in deprivation. I stopped buying books. We ate the plainest of meals. We said no to every social invitation that involved spending money. This didn't make us wealthy. It just made us poor with a small savings account. It constricted our spirit, made us fearful of every expense, and trained our minds to see the world not in terms of opportunity, but in terms of cost. The final and most seductive lie was the casino of speculation. Friends, well-meaning people, would tell me about a sure-thing stock or a risky investment that promised quick, astronomical returns. It was the lure of getting something for nothing, the polar opposite of the hustle gospel, but born from the same root of desperation. I thank God I never succumbed to that temptation, but I saw many who did, and they were invariably wiped out, left with even less than they started with. All these worldly strategies shared a common fatal flaw. They are all based on fear, fear of not having enough, fear of missing out, fear of the future, and a system built on fear can never, ever produce a reality of true, soul-satisfying abundance. My moment of despair arrived on a cold Tuesday morning. A letter had come from our landlord. The rent was increasing, and it was an amount we simply could not afford. It was the final straw. I felt a profound sense of hopelessness that I had never known. I walked out of our small apartment and just started walking, with no destination in mind. I ended up in the old study hall, the Beth Midrash, where I had spent my youth. It was empty, save for the rows upon rows of silent, waiting books. I sat down, not to study, but to hide. I put my head in my hands, and I wept. Not loud, dramatic sobs, but the quiet, soul-crushing tears of a man who has given his all and found it was not enough. I whispered to God, I don't understand. I have followed your ways. I have worked. I have been honest. Why is this happening? And in that silence, in that moment of complete surrender, my eyes were drawn to a single massive volume on the shelf. It was a collection of the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement. I had read it many times, but on this day my hand reached for it as if guided by an external force. I opened the book to a random page, and there it was, a glimmer of hope. It was a short passage, one I had glossed over 100 times before. It read, "The channel through which the Creator's abundance flows into the world is sealed by the fist of the one who clutches. It is opened by the hand of the one who gives." It struck me like lightning. All this time, I had been clutching. My budgeting, my frugality, my endless work. It was all a form of clenching my fist, trying to hold on to what little I had. I was operating from a consciousness of scarcity, and in doing so, I had sealed my own channel. The problem wasn't my income. The problem was my flow. This single sentence from the Baal Shem Tov sent me on a deep dive into the Torah, the Talmud, and the Zohar, searching for the source of this radical idea, and I found it, hidden in a place most people would never think to look for financial advice. The Torah anchor for this principle is found in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 22. The verse says, "Aser te'aser." It is typically translated as, "You shall surely tithe." The tithe, or maaser, is the commandment to give 10% of one's earnings to the Levites, the poor, and the stranger. Now, on the surface, this seems like a simple religious tax. But the great sages of our tradition saw something much deeper. They pointed to the unusual doubling of the verb, aser te'aser. Tithing, you shall tithe. Why the repetition? The Talmud, in Tractate Ta'anit, offers a stunning interpretation. It reads the phrase not as a command, but as a promise. Aser bishvil shetitasher. It means, tithe, so that you shall become wealthy. This is the only place in the entirety of Jewish scripture where we are explicitly permitted to test God. It is a divine challenge. Give and see if I do not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down a blessing until there is no more need. This is not a metaphor. It is a description of a spiritual mechanism. The universe, our sages teach, is designed as a closed-loop system of divine energy. Wealth, or shefa in Hebrew, is not a finite resource to be hoarded. It is a current that must flow. When we give, we are not depleting our resources. We are priming the pump. We are opening our end of the channel. which forces the universe to open the other end and pour abundance through us. This concept is what I call a spiritual technology. It's not a belief, it's a law of the spiritual cosmos, as real as the law of gravity. To understand it, you must first identify the enemy. The enemy is not debt. It is not a low income. The enemy is a state of consciousness called the dam of scarcity. Imagine your life is a riverbed, and the Creator's abundance is a mighty river that is meant to flow through it. The dam of scarcity is a belief system you have built, brick by brick, that blocks this flow. Every time you think, "I can't afford that," you add a brick. Every time you feel anxiety about a bill, you add a brick. Every time you hoard your money out of fear, you add another, thicker brick. Soon you have a massive dam, and only a tiny trickle of the great river can get through. You then look at the trickle and say, "See, the world is a place of scarcity, but you have created the scarcity yourself." The act of giving, specifically the act of maaser, is the spiritual equivalent of placing a stick of dynamite at the base of that dam. It is a declaration of faith over fear. It is an action that proves to your own soul and to the universe that you believe the source of the river is infinite. When you give from a place of lack, when you give when it feels illogical and scary, the universe has no choice but to respond. The explosion of that giving act shatters the dam, and the river of Shefa comes roaring back into your life. It doesn't just bring money. It brings opportunity. It brings ideas. It brings the right people. It brings a flow of divine energy into every corner of your existence. Giving is not about being good. It is about being smart. It is about understanding the physics of the spiritual world. You are not losing 10%. You are investing 10% into the mechanism that controls the other 90% and which opens the door to 100 times more. Now let me give you the practical application. This is not theory. This is a precise, 3-step protocol to demolish your dam of scarcity and activate the divine flow. I call it the Divine Circulation Protocol. Step 1 is calculation. You must sit down and calculate exactly what you have earned in the past month, down to the last penny. This is not a budget to restrict you. This is an accounting to empower you. You must look at the number without fear or judgment. This number is your starting point. From this gross income, before taxes, before expenses, you calculate exactly 10%. If you earned $5,000, your maaser is $500. If you earned $500, it is $50. The number must be exact. This precision is a signal to your subconscious mind that you are taking this spiritual law seriously. Step 2 is allocation. You must immediately, before you pay a single bill, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else, take that 10% and physically separate it. Open a separate bank account and label it maaser. Transfer the money there. Or, if you deal in cash, take the physical cash and put it in a separate envelope. This act of separation is critical. It is a physical demonstration of the principle that this money is not yours. It was never yours. It is a portion of the divine flow that was merely routed through you for the purpose of being given away. By separating it first, you are declaring that God is your primary partner in business, and you always pay your partner first. Step 3, and this is the most important, is distribution. You must give the money away. The money cannot sit in the maaser account indefinitely. It is a current, and it must circulate. Find a cause that resonates with your soul. It could be a charity that feeds the hungry, a study hall that preserves wisdom, a person in your community who is struggling. The key is to give it with joy. As you give it, whether by writing a check, clicking a donate button, or placing cash in someone's hand, you must perform a small meditation. Close your eyes and say, "I am a channel for the Creator's abundance. As I give, so shall I receive." And you must feel it. Feel the fear dissolving. Feel the channel opening. Feel the joy of being a conduit for good in the world. You must complete this entire protocol every single month, without fail, no matter how difficult it seems. It is a spiritual discipline, like exercise for the soul. When I first performed this protocol, my hands were shaking. Giving away that first sum of money we desperately needed, felt like an act of insanity. My logical mind screamed in protest, but my soul, remembering the words of the Baal Shem Tov, was quiet and firm. I calculated, I allocated, I distributed, and then a strange peace settled over me. The anxiety that had been my constant companion for years began to recede. The first month, nothing dramatic happened, but I paid my bills, and for the first time, I did it without that feeling of dread. I performed the protocol again the next month. A week later, I received a call from a small synagogue across town. Their regular teacher had fallen ill. They asked if I could fill in for a few weeks. The pay was modest, but it was extra. The third month, after I gave my ma'aser, an old colleague contacted me. He was launching a new educational journal and asked if I would be a contributing editor. The work was fulfilling, and it doubled my monthly income overnight. Within 6 months, my financial life was unrecognizable. The dam of scarcity had been shattered. The river was flowing. It wasn't a lottery win. It was a steady, ever-increasing current of opportunities, ideas, and resources. My wife and I were not just financially stable. We were prosperous. We were able to give more, to live more, to experience the joy of abundance that the Creator had always intended. This principle did not just change my bank account. It changed my soul. It taught me that my purpose is not to be a reservoir hoarding resources, but to be a channel allowing the divine energy of wealth to flow through me to nourish the world. And in becoming a channel, I found I was always full. This is the transformation that awaits you. It is a shift from fear to faith, from clutching to flowing, from scarcity to divine circulation. And so, I give you this blessing. May the Creator give you the courage to open your hand so that He may fill it beyond your wildest dreams. May you have the wisdom to become a channel for His light and His abundance, and may you live in a state of perpetual flow, a constant dance with the divine, experiencing the true wealth that is your birthright. Shalom.